Here is what one world religion's text says about Hindu beliefs, especially as they relate to their understanding of God. Here's the quote. They may believe in an all-pervading God, so formless and omnipotent that he cannot be described. Or those who find such a God too difficult to conceive may believe in one or more personal gods with quite human attributes who are regarded as manifestations of the Absolute. For uneducated villagers, there are always the demons, spirits, and godlings of their particular locality who must be propitiated or calmed through various superstitious practices. What then is Hinduism? The only possible answer is that there's a wide variety of beliefs held together by an attitude of mutual tolerance and by the characteristically Hindu conviction that all approaches to God are equally valid. A man is a Hindu not because of any particular religious belief, but because he was born a Hindu, continues to live within the Hindu social framework, and regards himself as generally committed to a Hindu way of life. Such a way of life is that laid down not only by one or another of the writings regarded as sacred, but perhaps more especially by the rules and the customs of his particular caste or subcaste. If a Hindu departs too far from the Hindu way of life as defined by his caste, he may be outcasted, a punishment comparable to excommunication. But this punishment is used to enforce certain standards of behavior rather than of belief. So again, we see the distinction, even in Hinduism, between beliefs and behavior. Very important. Now, in Hinduism, they talk oftentimes about the Hindu Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The word Trimurti has the idea of triple form. And sometimes Hindus talk about these different gods as different faces of the one ultimate underlying reality, which is Brahman, B-R-A-H-M-A-N, not Brahma. Brahma is one of these three faces of the Brahman. Brahma represents the creative power of the universe, the creative force that created the universe. The god Brahma is more often an object of collective worship. That is, that he's not honored separately, but is honored in relationship to either Vishnu or Shiva. There are only 2 temples in all of India that are specific to Brahma. So Brahma is less important in many ways. When he is depicted, he's commonly shown as an ancient, wise king with 4 faces that look in all 4 directions and 4 arms. Vishnu represents the force of preservation in the universe. In the Vedas, Vishnu is a god associated with the sun, although his role there appears to be small. Thought of as light and warmth that destroys darkness, Vishnu grew in stature until he became, in many ways, the major god of Hinduism. His followers are usually called Vaishnavites, or occasionally Vaishnavas. Because Vishnu is associated with loving kindness, it is believed that he can appear on earth at different times and in various physical forms to help those in need, especially in times of crisis. 10 major incarnations, which are called avatars. Now that's a word that we should be looking to learn. Avatars. Avatars are like incarnations. And Vishnu is said to have had 10 avatars. These 10 avatars, some are in the form of animals, such as a fish, a boar, a tortoise, and others are well-known founders or well-known prophets or savior figures from other religions, such as Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ. So we see again Hinduism absorbing ideas and traditions that don't come necessarily from its own background, but they incorporate them. The two most important avatars of Vishnu are Rama and Krishna. Rama is talked about in the Ramayana, the great epic poem, and Krishna is talked about in the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, the other great epic poem. So we find a lot of things out about them in those two poems, and I've already talked to you about the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm going to refer a little bit later on to the Ramayana. Shiva is the third member of the Trimurti, and Shiva is linked with destruction, and in many ways is the most complicated of the gods, both in terms of the way he's conceptualized and in terms of his origin. We think that his origin dates back beyond the Aryan invasion, so that even before you had Hinduism, you had those who were worshiping Shiva. Now, for non-Hindus, the worship of Shiva is hard to appreciate, because in Western religions, in the Middle East religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, creation is associated with God. It's a good thing. But in Hinduism, creation is just considered a part of the cycle. Whereas in the Western religions, you have the good creation of God being opposed by evil or Satan. In Hinduism, destruction is considered just a part of the process, the divine energy at work in the world. Destruction is a form of recycling because death has to take place before new forms of life can appear. And death is always thought of as leading to life, and that's why Shiva, in addition to being the god of destruction, is also thought of as the god of recreation. That's why oftentimes Shiva is pictured as the lord of the dance with the flames coming out on all sides from him. He's the god of destruction and the god of recreation. Shiva is also associated with sexual fertility, and so in Shaivaite temples throughout India, they will have what's called a lingam. It's a phallic symbol, a penis, that's made out of wood or stone. And oftentimes the worshipers will show their concern for Shiva and concern for having fertility as a part of their experience by pouring milk or rose water over the lingam as an act of devotion. Shiva does not have avatars. And so again, there is in Hinduism a longing more for Vishnu, because Vishnu has come close to us. Just as Christians think of God coming close to us through the incarnation of Jesus Christ in this world, so Shiva has come close to us through his various incarnations in the world.